You don't want to know what's going on in Aiken. You want to know it shaking Aiken. This is your host, Brian Katonic, Aiken native and real estate agent with Remax Tattersall, and welcome to another show. I was a little slow last week. I didn't put out a show last week, but I do have a good explanation. If you don't know me, I've got two teenage daughters, and last week we had to take our youngest to Georgia Southern to get her all settled in. And our oldest is about to head back to Clemson. So if you got kids in college or had kids in college, you know how time consuming that would be. You know, speaking of college, I know this is an Aiken-centric show, but I did want to pass on something that's really shocking for our state. I really did not know this until my daughter decided to go to Georgia Southern. And Southern has a wonderful thing that if you live in a bordering state, you get in-state Georgia tuition. So why is that a good thing? Well, I'll tell you why it's a good thing. South Carolina has one of the highest in-state tuitions in the entire country. We are number 11 for the cost of our in-state tuition. So on average, our in-state tuition, this is just tuition only, not books and everything else, is almost $13,000. Georgia is number 43 in the country. Their in-state tuition is $7,200. You know who's last in the country? Florida. That's right. University of Florida, Florida State, pretty good schools. Their in-state tuition is only $4,500. North Carolina, UNC, NC State, pretty good schools, only $7,200. In fact, of all these southern states, South Carolina is almost double that of any other state's in-state tuition. So why is that? Well, there's a multitude of reasons. One, our state assembly does not give enough money to higher education. And we're already a somewhat poor state. I know Aiken's a affluent town, and Greenville and Charleston. But, you know, you drive through the state, and a lot of the state does have great poverty. And, you know, to get out of that hole, we're going to have to educate people and do that in-state to keep them here. So many of our really sharp kids are going out of state, and they go out of state, they tend to stay out of state. So I hope we can get our representatives and senators to allocate more money to higher education. It's going to help the state as a whole and, you know, help all of us who send our kids to in-state school. Quite honestly, I was thrilled when Amy decided, that's my youngest daughter, decided to go to Georgia Southern, because it was almost half what it would have been if she would have gone to Clemson or South Carolina. And folks, that is kind of sad. And that's just not Georgia Southern. If she would have gone to Georgia or Georgia Tech, which I would argue is better than any of our major schools in the state, it would have been around the same price. So the big news for downtown Aiken is that the Hotel Aiken is officially for sale. You've heard me talk about this before, but as wonderful as downtown Aiken is with the alley and Lawrence Street and all the great things about it, right in the smack dab middle is a huge eyesore, which is the Hotel Aiken. City Council voted to list the property with Colliers International, a large real estate firm specializing in major businesses, shopping centers, stuff like that. So the sale of the Hotel Aiken includes more than just a hotel. It basically, if you're facing the building, includes everything all the way to the left down to Florence and around the corner to Warnke Cleaners. So the Indian restaurant there, the old Holly House Motor Inn, the building next to it, is all part of the sale. And additionally, if you go down to the Lawrence Street side, what's called the Beckham building, which has Flawless Glow, Vampire Penguin, and Ginger Bees, they're all also part of this sale. So if you go online at the Colliers site, you can read about it. We have 62,719 square feet, 1.36 acres of historic hotel redevelopment and retail opportunity. The description says, for 125 years, Hotel Aiken has been a prominent feature of downtown Aiken. It anchors and dominates one end of the significant commercial block of the city of Aiken along Lawrence Street between Park Avenue and Richland Avenue. The offer includes a historic restoration development and mixed-use development. The brochure goes on to say that a developer could receive specialty or historic renovation tax breaks, and it also does not limit what one could do with the Hotel Aiken. Now, the one thing that does not list, which I'm so disappointed on, is what's the sales price? So there's no sales price listed. I do know that Colliers gets a 4% commission up to $4 million. I can't tell you how many times our real estate clients come from other places in the country, look around Aiken and just love it, but then ask me, hey, what's the deal with that abandoned hotel right there? So hopefully the city with Collier's help can get it sold. One concern I have already is, will a potential buyer balk at this building due to the fact that 2 years ago the city tried to redevelop the hotel and ended up having a lawsuit filed against it? People who spend money for this sort of projects and get into these sort of projects want to do so, A, to make money, 2, want to do it if the community is behind them. So the last thing anyone wants to do is spend millions of dollars and be tied up in a lawsuit over their project. So that may deter some people. Some people in Aiken don't like it when I say that, but I'm just telling you, brother, that's just the truth of the matter. So whatever happens, let's hope the hotel gets developed. It's a blight to downtown right now, and it will help bring people downtown, develop the area, and make Aiken that much more wonderful. Okay, if you have that college girl going back to school, guess what? She wants a new do. That means hairdo. That means color it. That means style it. And you know where you need to go? Blue Cottage Salon and Spa. That's right. Give Carrie a call in downtown Aiken. She's going to take care of that co-ed. You got to look good for sorority mixers, good for that football game. So Carrie, trust me, she knows how to do it. So give her a call at Blue Cottage Salon and Spa. That's 803-221-5946. Hey, everyone. So we got a really special guest, a longtime friend of mine, Mike Harley, is joining us. And as you know, I used to be a lawyer and did real estate closings. And now I'm on, I left the dark side of the forest. I'm a real estate agent. And so people are always asking me, Brian, what's going on with mortgages and interest rates? And I'll say, well, let's ask someone competent like Mike Harley, because he's been doing it. What'd you say, Mike, 33 years?
Yes, sir. 33 years.
God, that's crazy. And Mike, I'm right. I did some closings back for you back in my evil days as a lawyer. So it's
Indeed,
a
you
lot more fun to
did.
be on this side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. You did, man. You did a lot for us back in that time frame. And, it was all good. You were right downtown Aiken, always, polite and awesome to the clients as well. So absolutely.
Right. So Mike, tell us, who are you with now?
So now I'm with Guild Mortgage, been with Guild for 9 years, and I am the CSRA manager. So we have an office here in Aiken and one in Augusta or Evans. And so I float between the two. I also still originate loans. I don't think I'll ever give that up, but because I just really like it, quite frankly. I love helping people, love going to the closings and everybody, having a good time. So
Yeah.
it's one of my passions is to really, have homeowner, it's American dream is home ownership. So it's one of the things that drove me when I was a kid in college, and I bought my first house. And man, I'll never forget that the real estate agent, that she's now passed away, but a real estate agent that helped me buy my first house, and the mortgage loan officer, that is still living. Actually, she's a broker here, one of the big offices downtown. But anyhow, she was they both were the two that pushed me and coached me and molded me to go into the mortgage world.
How
And
about that? That's interesting.
I'll be honest, this is the funniest thing. I tell people sometimes, I'm like, when I was 19 years old and bought my 20 years old and bought my first house, I had no earthly idea what a mortgage loan was. Like, I bought cars and stuff, and I knew what loans were, but I had no idea what the term mortgage meant. So that just kind of goes to show you, it's like, a full circle of going from absolutely no idea what you're doing and then making a career of it. So, but it's been a fun ride. Man, I've seen a lot of ups and downs, through the years. When I first started, the rates were at 13.99%.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, and we had refi boom after refi boom after refi boom during that time frame, and and then all of a sudden rates kind of plateaued, and then the purchase market became real prominent. The builders started really building heavily between Augusta and Aiken, North Augusta, and so that's what that's what, that drives us to where we are today.
Yeah. A lot of people ask me, let's see, Brian, is the market a little down since rates are up as compared to a few years ago? And I'm like, well, my business isn't, and Aiken, I've shared some numbers, aren't. As far as your business, you told me you guys are really kicking it, right?
Man, I tell you what, absolutely, man. I tell you, we're so blessed, Brian. I tell you, last month, this whole 2024 has been kind of a strange year. Some ups and downs. I mean, I talked to some of my peers throughout, locally and afar, and some aren't doing so well, and some are doing really well, and it's just not. It's weird. It's different. We are blessed, man. I tell you, and I've said this so many times, where Aiken, Augusta, our markets are kind of sort of in a bubble. And like it just, when other markets in other areas of the country are doing really bad, we just are just the old steady Eddie, so to speak.
Right.
And, we keep on plugging. Last month, I tell you, we haven't had a month like this. So Aiken and Augusta, we closed a little over 21 million in loan volume. And then that equated to 82 loan transactions. That ranged from new construction, a lot of new construction, a lot of or several ground up construction to perm loans, some second mortgages, some refis, believe it or not, some refis. And a lot of people are taking advantage of the how the market has treated them over the last 3, 4, 5 years. The appreciation value of their homes have increased by 2 to 3 times, and
Sure.
so people have a lot of equity in their homes, and they're utilizing some of that equity to do things like put a new roof on, or put a pool in, or do some debt consolidation, or college just kicked up, so some are using that for college funds and whatnot. So, but yeah, believe it or not, we're actually doing refis, and mainly doing a lot of the second mortgage type refis, and
I see.
not messing with the good interest rates of the 2s and 3s back in the probably what a lot of people have nowadays.
Right, right.
But,
So are you seeing a lot of clientele from out of state walking your door?
man, I tell you, we have a lot. Believe it or not, I mean, we just I don't have an exact percentage or a number, but I just know, just based off of being intricate between all the pipelines and whatnot, we have a lot of bridge loan activity, meaning that people are moving from Florida or down from the north, and they're needing to use their equity in their home to purchase another home here in Aiken, and they can't get they have their money basically tied up in their home, so we're having to do like a temporary bridge loan. And man, I tell you, people are taking really advantage of that bridge. It helps, bridge the gap, so to speak. And I tell you, we have really done a lot of that. But yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many clients that we have done moving to this area, either getting transferred to SRS or getting transferred to Fort Eisenhower, or, that sort of thing. And it's really amazing how much we're growing.
I am too. That I gotta say, so many of my clients are from New York, New Jersey, Florida, and a lot of California people. Have you had any California people coming yet?
Yeah, just a few that I have heard of. Just not a lot of California folks, more of folks from the north, and quite frankly, a lot from Florida.
Yeah.
But that's mainly the eastern United States is where we're seeing a lot of the folks coming in from.
I tell my northern clients that, hey, we love to have you and everything, but don't tell us how you did in Rochester. Like we don't want to hear that. Like you're down south now. You gotta eat cornbread and barbecue and get in the game. And then they're like, yeah, Brian, that's why we left up there because of that. So the big question is, people ask me all the time. I'm like, it changes all the time. I don't know. So what are interest rates doing?
And that's a great question. So yesterday, so the Federal Reserve met the last 2 days, and then so yesterday was the big day. So Chairman Powell came out, and his interview was pretty awesome. We were all, for the most part, geared towards what he was going to say, but it's always good to hear him say it. They're probably, I would say on a gauge, I would say 90+% that he's going to cut rates, the federal funds rate on in September, most likely by a quarter. Well, then when he says stuff positively like that, that really jolts the market, and it puts it into a really good, nice slow downward spiral to for goodness. So we're hopefully going to see we're going to see mortgage rates decline, and we've already actually, as soon as that meeting was over, which was about 3 p.m. yesterday, we had a rate change, downward rate change at 3:30. And so today it's actually already, it opened up nicely. We're already trending nicely. We're still trending in a good, solid direction. So I really do feel that some good, real key indicators that he had brought up was the unemployment number and the inflation. Excuse me. So the inflation and the unemployment number are almost perfectly aligned. So we're sort of in a perfect world right now. However, that's the forecast is probably going to change, obviously, come September. But but it's 99% sure that I feel like he's going to cut rates by probably at least a quarter.
Okay, so ballpark-ish 30-year rates are around what right now?
Yep. So Mark, depending on credit score, depending on the type of property, depending on type of loan, that sort of thing. But I just locked in a VA loan at 5.875 with zero origination and 0 points.
Wow.
So I haven't seen that in quite some time.
I bet. Do you have more people getting a VA or FHA versus conventional?
So, Aiken, what we have here in Aiken a lot is folks that will buy, say, a $500,000 or $600,000 home or high dollar home, but they'll put down $200,000, $300,000, $400,000. So, in scenarios like that, most of the time you're going to do a conventional mortgage as opposed to a VA or FHA. Most of the time, those folks will have good solid credit scores. They'll have good solid income, and so conventional is really the route to take. A lot of times as well, we have a lot of equestrian properties here as well. So those sometimes can be very unique to the market, the VA or the FHA. So a lot of times those types of properties would go much easier under a conventional loan.
Okay. And conventional rates right now are what, like 6.5%?
Nope. I just locked a conventional loan at 6%, 30-year fixed. That was no origination and half of a point, but the particular client wanted that 6% rate. So we were able to get him that at a really good price. And so we put him on what we call a float down. So if the market does decrease by the time he closes, which would be in about 60 days or so, he can actually float that rate down.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
For free one time. And so he's locked, so he's protected if the rates were to happen to go spike upwards. But if the rates do decrease like we're thinking, then he can actually take advantage of that little rate.
So let's say someone gets a mortgage conventional at 30 years and it's 6% today, and in 2 or 3 years it goes down to 4%, let's say, would they be able to refinance,
Absolutely. Yep. That's a fantastic question. So Guild's promise right now, if you do a mortgage with Guild today, and the rates were to decline by 1% or more, you can actually take advantage of the Guild to Guild refi program that we have until the end of 2025. So we'll do a refinance for the client for no lender fees. There will be some fees, such as an attorney's fees and things
appraisal
like
and stuff like that.
Yeah, but as far as the lender fees, we waive all of that for the client.
And back, because I used to do a ton of refinances for clients. I mean, that's unheard of. I've never heard of that before. So that's a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
As far as Aiken, as far as the growth and everything, it seems every street I go down, like I see new stuff being built. Like in your time, is this the most boom that you've seen in Aiken?
Absolutely. I do. We're a member of the Aiken Augusta Home Builders Association, and so pretty go to a lot of their, pretty active in it, and that's I go to a lot of their meetings. I'm on a lot of their Zoom calls. I interact with a lot of the other members, a lot of builders, We are on the list of a lot of preferred builder. We're a preferred lender for a lot of builders in the area. And I tell you, the amount of construction that has occurred in Aiken County over the last 3 years, 4 years is is unbelievable. The crazy thing is these guys are not stopping. They
Right.
are full steam ahead with building more and more and more. The Chamber of Commerce talks about, the growth in Aiken County, and it's continued in it. I mean, that's why they continue to build, is because of the continued growth.
Yeah. People don't realize, you touched on it yourself, people don't realize Fort Eisenhower, which was Fort Gordon, how much that's expanded over the last few years. I'm told people that because they have the cybersecurity out there, that's just a huge boondoggle, or not boondoggle, huge benefit for the community to have all those people over there.
Man, I tell you, it's actually the largest cyber command center in the world.
Yeah.
And it's right here in our backyard. And so the amount of influx, I mean, I literally just got a contract in today from a lady moving up from transferring from Savannah, from the base in Savannah to Fort Eisenhower. So, I mean, that just happened today. And I mean, it continues. I mean, and it's just the amount of people pouring because into the area because of Fort Eisenhower is just unbelievable.
Right. I think out there now, I think they have close to 40,000 civilians and close to that number active. I mean, that's a just enormous place over there, and it benefits the entire CSRA, like you say.
Oh, yeah.
So Mike, if someone's interested in getting a mortgage, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So they can call 803-341-0404. That's my cell phone number. You can email me at mharley@guildmortgage.net. If you wanted to do an application online, you can do that as well at www.guildmortgage.com/Mike Harley. And either way, you could call, text, email. We have between Aiken and Augusta, we have right at 15 people that works on my team. And between the group, we can absolutely take care of you.
Right. Well, you've always taken care of my people. In fact, folks, a couple of weeks ago, Mike closed probably the hardest loan he's probably ever had. We had so many obstacles to go through, and over, I kept telling my client, I don't know if anyone can do it, Mike can do it. And then we sat at the closing table and got done. So I really appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. I tell you, it was fun. And that's just another closing that, it's just so fun to go see, people smile and, just, have such large gratitude and that sort of thing. So just
Right.
real fun.
So folks, I recommend people that have treated my clients right and treated me right, and use whoever you want, but Mike does do a great job. So give him a chance. So thanks so much for coming on with Shaking and Aiken.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Many people who listen to the podcast have told me that they enjoy when I include some historical information about Aiken. So I thought I wouldn't include necessarily a historical piece about the town, but about one of its former residents. And in the light that the Olympics was last week, I thought I'd touch on one of Aiken's Olympians, and that is Charlie Simpkins. So who is Charlie Simpkins? Well, Charlie Simpkins graduated from Aiken High School in 1982 and was a member of the track team. So his specialty was the triple jump. If you watch track, that's where they run down a path and they have to jump 3 times and then fling themselves out, kind of like the long jump. So Charlie's triple jump record at Aiken High still stands for when he was in high school. After that, he went to Baptist College, which down in Charleston. It's now called Charleston Southern. And in 1985, he actually won the gold medal at the World University Games. And the very next year, he broke the world record for the indoor triple jump. After that, Charlie went to the Olympics in 1988, and he did not make the medal stand that year, finished 5th. But he stayed on that very high level track, and in 1992 went to the Summer Olympics in Barcelona, and guess what? He won the silver medal. So great accolades for Charlie. He is actually in the inaugural class of Aiken High's Sports Hall of Fame. After his track career ended, he went on, still involved in field coaching at the University of Tennessee, And if you know anything about Tennessee, they always have a great track program there. So if you wonder, does Aiken have any Olympic tradition? And they actually do have with certain people in the equine world. But Charlie Simpkins was our Olympiad in 1992 and 1988. Well, that'll do it for the show today. Thanks so much for Mike Harley showing up. Thanks for listening. And remember, come back next week because you don't want to know what's going on in Aiken. You want to know what's shaking in Aiken. See you later.